So imagine, if you will, the TV series Sopranos meets the Hunt for Red October. That's what you have here. You have gangsters like Prigozhin, who are oligarchs, working with Putin, who's both a gangster and an oligarch, in a system that we have no cultural link to. Their system is one of parentage of all these things where they buy off each other, they bully each other. This is not your father's Soviet Union. This is not our democracy or our republic. It's different. And so what we've seen, I think, is Prigozhin, who was a favorite of Putin. Putin picked him to run Wagner. Wagner is a tool of Russian foreign policy. It was created out of the DNA of the GRU. They took some GRU officers and kind of converted them into Wagner officers. And Wagner, it performs many of the functions that Blackwater used to use for the U.S. government, and some other things which Blackwater did not do, relating to more direct work relating to places like Syria. They also work with the Chinese. They provide personal security details for the Chinese leadership overseas. There's a link for you. And so Prigozhin was the trusted guy to run the books. He's not a military guy. He's a chef. He was a guy that actually spent time when he was 18 in prison for being a thug. But, thugs stick together, apparently, and Prigozhin came up from Petersburg with Putin to become essentially part of what Putin created post-Boris Yeltsin. That's why they're close. That's why I think I would attribute him getting away, that is, Prigozhin getting away with really bad-mouthing the war, the army, and things like that. So that's what I think is going on. And to your point, Jack, the reason I knew it was going to be short-lived, and I am not paid by anybody. I work independently. I wasn't like Rubin and Nance and all these other folks who get paid to say things. My assessment was he didn't have the three things necessary. That is, Prigozhin didn't have the three things necessary to prevail. First, he did not have the other oligarchs on his side. He did not grease enough skids. He didn't give enough of Tony Soprano's magic by paying people off or knocking them off in advance of what he wanted to do. So he was out with that. He wasn't going to get the second element, which is the military. The generals were not going to go along with this. He'd alienated most of them by his antics in Ukraine. He was the blunt end of the hammer. Yeah, Prigozhin and his guys were taking it on. That was their job. But the way he went about trying to get the military to give him more resources just alienated everybody. And third, most importantly, he didn't have the Russian people behind him. Putin actually invoked the 1917 revolution in his late Saturday, early Sunday speech. And you and I both know, Jack, when a world leader invokes a major national event like Biden mentioning 1776, something like that, it's a major signal that this links to their history. And I think what Putin was trying to say is, remember 1917 and what happened. In 1917, the October Revolution, it resulted in a number of years of civil war. Civil war lasted till, I think, 1926, after the October 1917 revolution. So I think Putin was warning everybody, you don't want to go along with this knucklehead. It'll just be bad. And I think since those things didn't go in Prigozhin's favor, it was going to be over very quickly.